I'm just going to speak, as another lady on the panel. You're asking Ms. Mogul all these questions. Here's the thing. If a woman is in a marriage and her arrangement is with God and her husband, she will know that Jesus is above her husband. So as women, what we typically do, a wise woman, typically, if the man doesn't want to do what we've asked, maybe he knows he should, maybe he's decided he doesn't want to do it, we are not in a position to reprimand him. We pray, we express our concern, and ultimately, I guarantee you, because I've seen it happen, his higher power, who he answers to, can change his heart, give him the motivation and the strength to go ahead and do what that woman is requesting. And it has worked for me for years. So I'm not really sure what answer we're trying to get at here, but ultimately, a woman who's under that Godship arrangement understands all you can really do is express yourself to your husband and say, hey, I would really love for you to do this, or I've noticed this concern. If he chooses not to do it, his higher power will take care of him. It's not in my concern anymore. I go about my daily life because I've done what I was supposed to do as a woman.
Well, and I'm completely in agreement with that, Sugar Curls. But we're talking about a secular society. Most people don't follow God in that way where they do that. What they do when people want somebody, and I'm just talking about the vast majority of relationships, when people want somebody to do something, they find a way to either get them to do it, or they follow that lady's advice and leave, or threaten to leave, or threaten to walk away, or they say, well, I'm not going to do this because you don't want to do that. They start to try to leverage power in the relationship because they want that person to move how they want them to move. And that's all I'm expressing. That's why I said I think most people try to have a sense of control over the other person. And sometimes how they try to yield that is by exercising their power over that person. They figure out what power they have in their relationship, and they try to find a way to yield that power to get the results that they want. So, and that...
The thing about it is this, guys. There is nothing wrong with controlling. You need to control somebody in a relationship. The man has to control the woman. The woman, in a certain extent, has to control the man. It's a give and take. You can, but the thing is that it's so pathetic that whenever the word is used, controlling, some people just freak out and take it personal. It's not personal. The government has to control the citizens. If not, there's going to be an anarchy. If the man of the house is not able to wield great amount of control in his family, he's going to lose his family. My father had to control us. My father had to sometimes delegate that control to my mother to control us. Because if not, guess what? I won't be here talking. I'll be in the street or 6 foot under, right? Control, what it does is that it brings order to the society and order to family. You shouldn't take it as an insult or somebody taking away your freedom. No freedom is taken. What is given is obedience, and that's to be able to function in a rightful society whereby you can be able to control things under your own power so that there won't be, number one, raising the wrong kids, boys going out there and impregnating girls at the age of 16. When you don't control your family, that's what happens. Your daughter comes home pregnant. Your son comes home becoming a father when he's supposed to be in school. You lose a lot by not being able to control. That's what happens. Then when it comes to God, praying to God and praying to God to take care of your husband and make your husband to change, no. God gave you brains so he can rest. God is not going to do that for you. You got to go to your husband and tell him to take the trash. Taking the trash out is not a problem. It's the way you say it. Men don't have problem taking away trash. What men don't like is the condescending tone of taking away the trash. If you come to your man, you can influence him, you can control him. But how do you apply that power is the problem. A woman can be controlled by her man, but how he applies that power is the problem. Both of you have the right to live. Nobody can force anybody to be in a relationship. But what you say is not a problem. It's the way you say it. That's just how the world functions. That's how the word functions. So we have to understand that, yes, certain words are triggering, but it's the way it's applied. And I got to say this, guys, the reason why we have bigger problem in the community is because men have become so stupid in life. Not all men, but certain men have become so stupid in life that they think about a woman's vagina than the quality that she's bringing to the table. And I'm going to explain this. If you want to get into a relationship with a woman, you don't want to take your time to vet the woman, to find out which family she's coming from, find out which kind of friends she has, what kind of school did she attend, what kind of life is she exposed to. But if you want to buy a car that you're going to drive for 5 years, you're going to go online and research that car for weeks and months, and then go and test drive the car and find out if the performance is what it is, and also find out if the price is right for you. But we are so lazy when it comes to the most precious thing in our life that can determine our future for the next 40, 50, 60 years, however long we'll live, especially if a child becomes involved. Men have become careless with their seeds. And women have come to understand that, guess what? If he's not going to respect himself by coming this low to deal with me as a woman that I ain't shit, I don't have no respect for him. Because if that girl who happens to be trashy, that you are more qualified to deal with, is able to lay down with you in the bed, how is she going to respect you? Because you didn't respect yourself. When I was out there dealing with girls, I was very careful the kind of girls I slept with. None of those girls had my baby. Even the ones that I found out that they ain't shit later on, they never had my baby. And guess what? That's how I respected myself, by not letting any of them to have my baby. Because you know why? If they had done that, then I have to deal with her as long as that child lives, right? Or as long before the child turns 18, I have to deal with that. Do you know how long 18 years? 18 years with the wrong woman is the most painful time in your life that you can ever deal with. Then some people have like 5, 6 of those kids. So as a man, you have to respect yourself for a woman to respect you.
Right. Hold on, real quick. Let me just get to dark arts, and then we'll go come back to you, Sweeney. Go ahead, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, listen, it's been a good conversation so far, and I really appreciate it. And I want to touch back on the trash can or taking the trash out situation, right? I think first and foremost, when it comes to relationships, you have to understand that if your end goal is always to say, we're going to break up, I'm going to leave, you ain't going to stay in a relationship long enough, right? That is the very last resort, right, of any relationship. What we need to learn how to do is be able to have conflict resolution skills and tools, right? We also have to learn how to be a negotiator in a relationship, because there are oftentimes parts and pieces where we have to negotiate with one another. And someone said about power dynamics in a relationship. Well, if your relationship has gone for the last 3 or 4 years and you're still in a power dynamic, we need to ask questions about your relationship, because you shouldn't stay in that place for so long, right? Every relationship goes through it, but you should not be in that stage forever, right? And I can only talk from a man's perspective, because I think I'm a man in it, so I can't talk from a woman's, right? So let me just say this first and foremost. How I look at men and how we are in relationships is the role we're supposed to play is a cultivator. You are a gardener. So whatever woman I choose, I have to cultivate within her. Whatever I say, whatever I do, right? These are models of how I expect her to behave. Now, if I don't hold myself accountable and lead in the right way, I can never expect her to behave the way I want her to behave. So if, let's say, for instance, me and her having an argument, and I'm saying to her, I need you to listen. Meanwhile, she came to me earlier on to tell me something, and I wasn't listening. Well, I just modeled to her the behavior that I expect to see in a relationship. Failed leadership is what you show people and what you do, and then you do something. Failed leadership is when you say something and it contradicts actually what you actually do. So when the woman's looking at you, what she's looking to see is the word and is your actions actually in alignment? That's where the trust and the respect actually comes in. Now, all relationships are based on submission. The man has to submit his strength and the woman has to submit her power. When she submits her power, she gives me the respect. When I submit my strength, I give her the love, right? Now, it's a give and take. There's no way that relationship is going to work with one person trying to dominate the whole situation. In fact, biblically, when he talks about domination, he talks about only the animals and the plants and the sea and everything else. He never says a man should have dominance over a woman. Never. Now, the word control, I can see where you're going with it, right? The problem is that people are going to have their own meaning applied to a word called control. So when you're in a relationship with somebody, I have to ask you a question. What does it mean to you? Because if I start saying I got to control things, in my head, I might be thinking, hold on, I've got to make sure things are in good check. And I can mean that from a good place. But when I say it, it's triggering you. So when I see it triggering you, what do? Do I just continue going, I don't care, it is what it is? Well, if you do that, you're now modeling a behavior. No, I want to see some, I want us to use our brains. So when I see that behavior, my first result cannot be go in and attack. My first result has to be, actually, wait, first and foremost, let me look at this properly. What does it mean to you? I just said something and I think you just got triggered by it, but what does it mean to you? Because I need to have a baseline of understanding of where you're coming from, because you're going to see it from your perspective. You've lived for how many years and seen life in a particular way, right? And I have to trust that when I chose you, I chose correctly. Now, if you chose the wrong person at the beginning, hey ho, you're in a different situation, right? But if I trusted my own choice, then I know that you're not a bad woman. What I do know right now is that we're not seeing eye to eye, and I may need to negotiate, or I may need to have a conversation about compromise, and sometimes I'm going to win and sometimes I'm going to lose. If you're someone who always wants to win, I can guarantee you your partner's going to build up resentment. And today they don't leave you, but in a couple of years' time, they're gone. And then you're asking the question, why did you leave? Well, because you planted the seeds that have now become a tree, right? You don't let a serpent become a dragon. You know what I'm saying to you? You don't let a seed become a tree. You have to deal with things at a root cause and deal with it early. So I think the submission conversation is a great one. I think both people do submit, but I think the issue that we have is that both men and women are broken. So they're always looking for power, because the power is actually their self-defense and able to, if I've accrued that power, then I can control. And if I can control, then I'm safe, because I haven't dealt with the wounds that are in my heart already, right? So that's why you have power dynamics in a relationship between two people, because really and truly, a lot of us are dealing with childhood issues as an adult. And so we're warring with one another. Why am I warring with you? I get that I'm going to disagree with you, like the trash can situation. It happens in relationships. We disagree. Maybe I'm pissed off today and I don't want to take the trash out today. But you're going to look at me and be like, why you ain't taking trash? Now, if I want to elevate the situation, I can. But do I win in the end? No. Because if the relationship crashes, we both lose. And that's how you have to look at it. You have mutual destruction. So in all things, I have to be very, very careful about what I'm trying to achieve and what goal I'm trying to hit. Because if I end up in a divorce, we both lose. No one wins in this situation, right? So I got to learn as a man, as I'm leading, that my strength does not mean I abuse you. My strength doesn't mean I just take over. My strength is also understanding that sometimes we're not going to see eye to eye. And I'm not trying to control you. I don't want to control you. You're an autonomous human being who has lived their entire life the whole entire time. Now I have a program that I live my life by. And of course, I'll make sure I stay within my programming. If I see that you're coming out of that space, I can only say to you, listen, hey, I don't think that's the right thing we should be doing. And if you respect me and trust me, she's going to hear me. But if I haven't built up trust and respect from her, trust what she's going to do. She's going to do whatever she wants to do. You know what I mean?